Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started this morning by just welcoming all of you guys. Sawadee Kap. Welcome to Wat Tung Yu. Nice to see all of you guys there at the temple. Welcome to everyone who's joining us online as well, whether you're in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, or you're listening to this on the replay. Today is our group learning program where each Wednesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., as well as on Sundays at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., I get together with students in order to help guide you on the path to enlightenment. On Sundays at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., I go chapter by chapter in our book, Developing a Life Practice, The Path That Leads to Enlightenment. This is a 7-month program where I go chapter by chapter each Sunday, guiding you in understanding the path to enlightenment. And then on Wednesdays, we get together and I do meditation with students and then open up to any and all questions that you guys might have. So I'd like to welcome you, whether you're joining for the first time or you've been joining regularly, whether you're at the temple as maybe a tourist or you're just passing by, maybe it's your first time visiting. I'd like to welcome all of you guys. Normally, I'd be right there at the temple with you, but I've been traveling the last 3 weeks. I'm coming back from Mexico. I'm going to be in Chiang Mai this evening, and I'm going to be starting regular classes again from Chiang Mai. But there's been some students there that have been very gracious to help me to be able to continue to share teachings with you guys, because as you guys see, there's well known in the community that we have these classes each Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So I thought even though I was traveling, I'd still be able to teach, which has been working out really well. So thank you to Steve and Helena and anyone else who's been contributing to that. I appreciate that I've been able to continue to help you guys, and those of you guys that are coming by the temple over the last 3 weeks. What I'm going to do is start with some breathing mindfulness meditation. This is a meditation that the Buddha used as a way to move the mind to enlightenment, where you're training the mind and you're purifying the mind. There's other things you would need besides meditation in order to get to enlightenment, but breathing mindfulness meditation is a key aspect of your training that you're going to need. So the way that we start this is we start with chanting to ease the mind into meditation. And if you'd like to chant along, whether you're online or you're at the temple, there's chanting sheets over there at the temple, over on the table by the bulletin board. You can get the chanting sheet if you'd like, and you'll be able to see what I'm actually chanting. And you can chant along with me if you'd like. You can even see the English translations, because I'm going to be chanting in the Pali language, which is the historical language of the teachings of the Buddha. And this is going to help to ease the mind into meditation and get more benefit out of the meditation itself. During the lifetime of the Buddha, they used chanting as a way to commit the teachings to memory, that every 2 weeks they would come together and they would recite his teachings word for word for word. So these chants, they don't have anything mystical or magical about them. It's not a prayer or worship or anything like that. It's not a rite or ritual or a ceremony. It's just to help ease the mind into meditation. That's what we use it for today. But during the lifetime of the Buddha, they used chanting as a way to commit the teachings to memory, because everything he taught was oral and they needed a way to remember his teachings, and they did that through the chanting. So you're going to hear me do the chanting on the way into the meditation, and then I'm going to be giving you some guidance during the meditation itself, that as we're meditating, you're going to hear me guiding you. Then we're going to have this period of time where we'll just be quiet and we'll just all be meditating together, and then we'll come out of the meditation with some more chanting as well. If you'd like some guidance on the position to meditate in, there's actually 4 different positions. There's seated, lying, standing, and there's walking position. Oftentimes people are learning in the seated position to get started, but I teach all 4 of these positions at different times in the various courses and retreats that we have. But let me just give you an introduction to the seated position to help you kind of get started with that. Often people are on the floor or they're in a chair. You can even sit on a sofa or a wheelchair, anything like this. If you're on the floor, which I see most of you guys at the temple are on the floor, you usually have a cushion or 2, maybe 3 or 4, up to you, however many you'd like, under your rear. And then you just lightly cross your legs. If you have your legs too tight, this will impede the circulation of the legs and it'll cause pain in the lower body. And you're not interested in having pain in the body. So just lightly crossing your legs usually works out best. Some people like to put their legs off the mat. So if you cross your legs and kind of put your legs off the mat, this will get your hips up in the air and it'll lessen the angle at the hips, the knees, and the ankles and make it more comfortable for you to meditate. The Buddha put his right hand over his left with his thumbs together, and he put this into his lap. So if that's comfortable for you, you could do that. But there's other options here too. It's not about everybody doing it exactly the same way. It's about finding what's comfortable for you. So some people like to put their palms on their thighs or on their knees. Some people put their palms up. It's really whatever's comfortable for you. You can even just rest your hands comfortably in your lap if you like. So again, I'm going to ease us into meditation with some chanting, and then I'll come back in with some guidance. And I apologize, I'm a little bit sick today. You might be able to tell from my voice. So I'll just make my way through the chanting and the teaching. And as I mentioned, after meditation, we'll just open up to whatever questions you guys have. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakawa Tang Mahakavanang Apivateyami Savakato Mahakavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Mahakavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Arhasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Arhasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Arhasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti pisu Mahakava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang Sambuddho Sakato Rokavito Anutero Purisa Dhamma Sati Satatawa Manusara Poto Bhagavati. Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect, just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath. A nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled. Just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, And that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathe in gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath. Either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind focused on the breath, whenever you notice that the mind moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธมหะกวาโพตังภาควันนังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิจาจารนังสัมมุโนสัคคาโตโรกาวิโตอนุเตโรปุริสาดามาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังโพโตภาควาติ All right, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation, once again, I'd like to welcome all of you guys. Welcome to everyone at the temple. Welcome to everyone online who's joining us as well. I can see you guys got quite a few people there at Wat Tung Yu. You know, there's lots of space up front here where you guys can sit too if you like. I don't feel like you have to all cram in the back like that. You might decide you'd like to spread out a little bit. As I was mentioning, today is our group learning program where each Sunday and Wednesday I get together with students and guide them in helping them to understand the path to enlightenment as taught by the Buddha. The path to enlightenment is to help you learn how to train your mind and get to the point where the mind is peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy, where you no longer experience any discontent feelings. By the time you train your mind to enlightenment, all the anger and sadness, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fear, stress, anxiety, loneliness, boredom, shyness, resentment, jealousy, all these discontent feelings in others are completely eliminated from the mind. You'll notice that you have focus and concentration and clarity and deep memory. Your personal and professional relationships will blossom. You'll be at ease because you won't be bitter and harsh and hostile in your relationships anymore. You won't even be in a bad mood anymore because you've eliminated the causes and conditions that are producing this. Oftentimes people think as human beings that we're just going to experience anger and sadness and this is just the way it is. And we tend to even blame those feelings on other people. But what you can learn on this path is that it's your own mind that is causing these feelings. It's not your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your boyfriends, girlfriends, husband, wives, your children, your boss, all these people. It's not them that's actually causing these discontent feelings like anger and frustration and agitation and things like this. And because your own mind is actually causing these feelings, you can actually eliminate it through training the mind and purifying the mind. That's where meditation comes in. That's one of the trainings that you need in order to get to enlightenment. But there's other training that you need as well. And I'm willing to share anything and everything that you guys would like to ask questions about related to the path to enlightenment. That's what today's class is all about. It's just opening up to any and all questions that you guys have. We're going to be restarting this program from the very beginning on October 20th. You don't have to start from the very beginning, but that's when we're going to restart it from the very beginning. And a lot of times students like to start from the very beginning so you can gradually learn little by little by little. This Friday, we have a game night coming up, Friday at 6 p.m. If you'd like to come to the temple, we're going to have a social event where we just play games and spend time sharing food and drinks and things like this and just relaxing with each other. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, we have classes. And then starting next week on Monday through Friday, I'm going to be starting a 5-day course, which is the foundation and the path to enlightenment. This is where we're going to meet from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day. And I'm going to be sharing the foundational teachings that it takes to be able to train your mind to get to enlightenment. But since today is all about asking questions and seeing what things you guys would like to ask about, you're more than welcome to ask any and all questions, whether it's something that you're seeing in Thailand, whether it's something that you've seen at a temple, whether it's something you've read about related to the teachings of the Buddha, if maybe something you grew up with and you're not quite sure and not quite clear on what it is that the Buddha actually taught. You guys can ask any and all questions that you like, whether you're at the temple or you're online. If you're at the temple, all you need to do is get a microphone there in the white bowls. They're in the front of the classroom by the carpets. All you need to do is press the gray button on that. The lights will light up, and then you hold the microphone up to your chin, and we'll be able to hear you all throughout the live stream and online, and you'll be able to hear yourselves at the temple as well. And for those of you guys online, whether you're in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, you can ask questions by putting that into the comment section, or in Zoom, you can raise your hand and ask any questions that you like. So let me know what questions you guys have. I'll be pleased to help all of you guys. It looks like Rachel on Zoom has a question. Maybe Rachel there too. I saw her looking for a microphone. Maybe Rachel has a question at the temple. So let's see. Rachel online here. She's asking, when I am meditating, I find myself making small chants, for example, the present moment. This helps me focus on the breath. However, maybe this is an unadvisable attachment. I am not sure if it is really useful. So yeah, Rachel, when you're first starting, it's, your mind is really holding on a lot where it doesn't let go easily. So as I've shared with other students, I'll just kind of share this, Rachel. I think you already know this, but I'll share it with the folks at the temple or people who are brand new studying with me. The goal of this meditation isn't to eliminate your thoughts. It's to focus on the breath. And when your mind moves off the breath, to notice it sooner and sooner and to cut it off and let it go easier and easier. So even as an enlightened being, you're still going to have thoughts occasionally in meditation. So what you're doing is you're developing your mindfulness and concentration by focusing on the breath. And when the mind moves off the breath, you're cutting that off and letting it go, training the mind to easily let go. But the mind doesn't want to do that. Like Rachel's kind of alluding to, is like, yeah, it's kind of hard when you're first getting started to train your mind to let go, let go, let go. So sometimes you need to kind of talk to the mind and kind of coax it a little bit in meditation, that when you notice it does move off the breath, you might say things like what you're saying, or you might just say, let it go, or anything like that. I see in here you're saying the present moment. So if that's what's helping you to train your mind to let go, you can use that. I think I used that like that for like maybe 2 or 3 months before I was able to finally stop doing that. I needed it less and less. So that's kind of like a little bit of a training wheels. But yes, you would not like to allow the mind to get attached to this. So just know that if you're using any kind of little saying like that to train your mind to let go, that you would need to let go of that little saying in a certain period of time. Because if you use that continuously all throughout your training of your mind, then you're not really training the mind to let go, because all you're doing is replacing whatever thought it would have had with that particular thought. So focus on the breath for as much as you can. When it moves off, try to cut it off and let it go and bring the mind back. But if it doesn't, and using that what you shared works, or let it go, whatever works, help to bring the mind back. And then once the mind comes back, again, try to go from there. And now keep the mind on the breath as long as possible. And then when it moves off, if you need something to pull it back, but just try to pull it back by yourself if you can, without using any kind of thoughts in the mind, because that's going to train the mind to not truly let go the way you would like it to do. You would like it to internally be able to just cut it off, almost like a reflex, that whenever you see the mind move off, it just cuts it off and lets it go. And this is going to be really beneficial, because if you're training this way in meditation, now in day-to-day life, when you're out and about and these unwholesome thoughts are coming up, you can just cut it off and let it go. You don't have to say anything internally. You don't have to fumble with any words or any thoughts. You can just internally, almost like a reflex, just cut it off and let it go. So if you're driving down the road and you notice you look over and maybe you're judging somebody for the type of car they have, you can just cut that off and let it go and just boom, focus on the driving. Or if you're walking down the street and there's some unwholesome thought that comes into mind, boom, you can just cut it off. That's what you'd ultimately like to get to. But of course, it's going to take multiple weeks and months of training to be able to get to that point. So in the meantime, if you need these kind of training wheels, use those, but be sure to take them off at some point so that you can fully develop the mind to be able to let go. Okay. What other questions do you guys have?
David, can you hear?
I sure can.
Oh, okay, thank you. So on Monday, you were talking about some of the misconceptions around Buddhist, some things which, rites and rituals which you see around Buddhist situations, but aren't really the core of the path to enlightenment. And I think in that context, we mentioned prayer. The idea of praying to some entity or external being for a particular outcome. I want my investment to go up. I want my relationship to be fixed up, whatever. That also is a core teaching of the of Buddha about the path to enlightenment. But just on prayer, is there an enlightened way to pray? Does prayer come in at all into the practices? I sometimes think it might have a relationship to right intention. I'm praying, putting my intention to keep moving forward. But yes, that's my question: is does in terms of the practices, does prayer of the situation at all?
Sure. So usually when people are praying, they're thinking about a relationship with God and whether or not that's something that they're doing. Usually that's where prayer comes in. And I have taught, and I'm sure Steve been in those discussions before, where you can learn to have a relationship with God and get to enlightenment, or you can choose to not have a relationship with God and get to enlightenment. If somebody's not interested in a relationship with God, typically they're not going to be praying. They're not going to be doing any of that kind of stuff. But if somebody is interested in a relationship with God, you can actually pray, but it's important that you understand like the way of prayer that would produce the ability for you to get to enlightenment, where oftentimes people have been taught to like crave and ask for things from God, like a genie in a bottle, like, please God, give me this or give me this or give me that. If someone has been taught that and that's what they do, there's craving, desire, attachment, the mind's longing and yearning. And it's also having wrong view, because the mind doesn't understand what it takes to really acquire any one particular thing in life. That if you're interested in acquiring more wealth or a relationship or a new job or a new house or something like this, it's not God or the Buddha who's going to magically bestow that upon you. The way that you acquire anything in life is through your own decisions. Making wise decisions is going to produce a wholesome outcome. There's no good luck or bad luck or destiny or fate. It's about our own decisions. So if you're going to pray, it's important to understand that there is no entity that's going to magically give you anything. And I think you know that. If you do pray, you're usually praying to God. And what I guide people to do is that they open up to a relationship with God, if that's what they would like to do. You don't have to, but if you would like to, you can still get to enlightenment without a relationship with God, because it's not God who grants you enlightenment, But if somebody is interested in a relationship with this being is able to guide you and provide you guidance along the path. And just opening up to this being and letting them know that you're, appreciative of them being in your life, or you don't even know if they exist, or whatever you would like to say to this being, you can say it in prayer like you're having a conversation. And you can treat this being just like you would any other friend or family member, because oftentimes when people are taught to like ask God for things over and over and over and over and over again, you would never do that to your friend or family member, but yet people have been taught to do that to God. So for some people, they might just choose to have a conversation with this being and just letting them know, like, hey, thank you for being in my life. If there's anything you'd like to share with me, I'm more than open to that. Thank you for everything that, you might provide in my life in terms of guidance or wisdom, because that's really what this being can do for you. This being does have the power and knowledge to do anything and everything, but that's not what it does. It doesn't just grant people's wishes and things like that the way that some people have been taught.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We have some more coming in here on Facebook. Master V from Wat Tung Yu, he says, good morning, Ajahn David. A lot of people today. Happy Chinese National Day. Enjoy this moment together now. So that was Master V. Janae from the US on Facebook is saying, in the same way that we cause our own discontentedness, do we also make all of our attachments by letting the mind cling to things? Yes. It is each individual's choice of what they cling to or what they don't cling to. That's the beauty in all of this. Everything that we experience in life is a result of our own decisions. And we fail to see this in the unenlightened state. We firmly believe that it's other people that are causing us difficulties, or we think it's destiny or fate, or we think it's good luck or bad luck. And this is why people tend to go around and blame other people for the struggles and difficulties that we experience in life. But the cravings, desires, attachments within one's own mind that is causing discontentedness, this is a choice by each individual. Now, when you have a lack of wisdom of what craving, desire, attachment is, and you lack wisdom of how to eliminate those, you'll accumulate a lot of different cravings, desires, attachments, and you'll experience a lot of discontentedness at different times in your life. But once you become wise to these things and you start learning the wisdom of how to eliminate them, you gain so much power in your life. Because now the things that used to bother you or annoy you or frustrate you or agitate you, you can more clearly see those things within your own mind. And then you have the training and the wisdom of how to eliminate them. And you can get to the point where your mind's completely liberated and you no longer experience any discontent feelings. All those discontent feelings are completely eliminated, and it comes through eliminating the cravings, desires, attachments. Any other questions you guys would like to ask? Janae's asking a question, which fetters are most associated with idle chatter? This one is the central desire and oftentimes restlessness, and maybe even conceit as well. These are the ones that are in there quite a bit, as well as even wrong behavior, the third one, because that's part of wrong speech. So there's all of those can be involved with idle chatter. You need to eliminate the cravings, the desires. That's what idle chatter is the frivolous speech where there's no purposeful speech. It's not clear and concise and purposeful. It's just yada, 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 yada. There's an underlying craving there. So there's all those fetters involved, which is wrong behavior and observances, central desire, because anytime there's craving, pretty much central desire is involved. You've got the conceit sometimes that can be coming from arrogance and ego, and there can be restlessness. And no matter what fetter is involved, ignorance, the 10th fetter, is always involved. For those of you guys that are new to the teachings of the Buddha, what Janae's asking about are these pollutions in the mind, that there's these 10 individual pollutions that the Buddha taught called the fetters. These are the things that you're working to eliminate from the mind. And by training the mind to eliminate these 10 fetters, that's where the mind starts experiencing the peace and the joy, because the mind has eliminated its cravings, desires, attachments, and all the pollutions that are causing the discontent feelings.
Hi, David. This is Sissy, coming from China, and very thanks for your guiding through with us today. This is the first time I trying meditation here, and just one simple question. When I was doing meditation, I feel my body have some pins and needles, especially my foot. So should I just let it go, or should I adjust my body position or something else to help me to become more emergent through the process? Thank you.
Sure, I'm pleased to help you. I was just reaching for the charger here. My computer wasn't plugged in. Okay, so there's two things that can be happening when you have those pins and needles in the feet and the legs. The first thing is it could just be sitting on a nerve, and you need to adjust the body positioning. This is why the Buddha gives us 4 positions. There's seated, lying, standing, and walking. And depending on what's going on, if it's just kind of an impingement of the nerve or maybe the circulatory system, you can either just adjust your body position within that same position of seated, or you can change to like a lying, a standing, or a walking position. These are the other positions that you could use. So if it's something with the physical structures of the body, changing the position of the body is what will fix it. Then if those things are fine, sometimes what people experience as the mind and the body are starting to separate, because you have the body and you have the mind, and this is what creates the person. But as you're meditating more and more, you start to get awareness of how these two things are separate, and you can start noticing numbness in the body at different times when you're meditating. This is somewhat normal. So if it's coming from this, all you need to do is just keep meditating and training the mind, and more you will observe that separation, and this will pass. But I suggest you try to change body positions first to see if that clears it up, because you would like to make sure there's no impingement of a nerve or a vein or a blood vessel or something like that. If that's cleared up and you've changed position and you still are feeling numbness and tingling, it can be from the separation of the body and the mind, where the physical structures of the brain are starting to change through meditation, and you're starting to experience some sensations in the body because of this.
Okay, thank you, Daddy.
You're welcome. Okay, looks like Rachel on Zoom has a question. Looks like there's another one there at the temple. Go ahead, sir. If you have a question at the temple.
Yeah, hi, David. Yeah, hi there. This is Yan speaking. And I've been practicing meditation for about half a year. And I've been doing some experiments by myself, trying to do a meditation in different places. So first, my question is, do you recommend a specific place or specific occasion that I should practice meditation? Because I tried tried meditation in car, on the airplane, on the bus. It didn't work out very well. All the surrounding noises or the ambient sound dragged me away. And I tried my best to cut them off and let them go, but it doesn't work. I guess it's because of it's a survival mode. Like when your eyes are closed, you have to observe your environment to make yourself feel safe. I understand it as an intuition of my body. So that's my question. Should I choose a very quiet and safe place to practice, or it's unlimited? Yeah.
Okay. So let me help you understand what the problem is, and then we'll talk about the solution to your meditation. So the problem in the mind of the unenlightened mind being untrained is that it has craving, desire, attachment. It's longing, yearning, it's craving permanence. It's wanting things to be a certain way permanently, but yet it lives in an impermanent world. When you look around the world, everything is constantly changing. This is called the universal truth of impermanence, that things are just constantly changing and changing and changing and changing. But the mind in the unenlightened state, with its lack of training, craves permanence. It's wanting things to be a certain way. So that's why when you're moving around from different location to different location, your mind doesn't like this. Because the same way to say that the unenlightened mind craves permanence is to say that it does not like impermanence. It doesn't like change. So what your mind's going to want to do is it's going to want to meditate in the same place at the same time all the time. And it thinks that's the actual solution. But that's not the actual solution, because the mind is uncomfortable with all this change. Not just in meditation, but for example, if your mom or dad dies, your brothers and sisters die, if your job changes, if you have to change locations of where you live, if your income changes, things like this, your mind doesn't like it. Every unenlightened mind is that way, that it just doesn't like change. So what you're looking to do, among other things, with your meditation practice, is you're looking to get it used to change. You're interested in helping it to get used to this impermanent nature of the world. So when people first start out, I suggest for maybe like the first 4 to 8 weeks that you generally meditate in the same place in order to kind of build up your practice, where you have a tendency to meditate regularly 2 or 3 times a day, building up to 30 minutes or more over the course of 6 months, a year, or 2 years. So meditate kind of like the first 4 to 6 weeks, generally in the same location. And then you would actually like to move your mind around into different locations. And it's not going to like it. It's not going to feel the same. You're going to notice that your meditation, where you're normally used to meditating, your mind's more calm and more stable. But when you move it other places, like to a park or in your car, as you said, or different places like this, your mind's not going to like it. It's not going to feel as good. But that's the whole reason why you need to move it around, because the mind doesn't like this impermanence, and you need to train it to be just as comfortable meditating in a park, in the car, in the mountains, somewhere else, by a waterfall, with noise, without noise, all this kind of stuff, because you can't get the same environment permanently every single time. It's just not possible. So if you get your mind trained to always meditate in the same place with silence and all these kinds of things, you're actually setting yourself up to fail, because that environment isn't permanent. You're not going to be able to meditate in that kind of environment permanently. So the best thing you can do is move your mind around, give it a lot of different experiences so that it can get comfortable meditating in all these different places. But start out with the first 4 to 8 weeks of a nice stable place to meditate, so you build up your practice, and then you can go meditate somewhere else once in a while, and then come back, meditate somewhere else once in a while, and come back, and this will train your mind to get more and more used to impermanence.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Hi, Master. My name is Rosalind, and I come from China. I want to ask you a question about the meaning of the medication. Like, how do you view the role of medication in our daily work and life? Because we usually have our own work in common days. And how to integrate the medication into our daily life in such a fast-paced era, because we usually have not very much time in our daily life. We usually have maybe over 10 hours of work every day. And how to use the medication to make our life more health or more happy.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. So it's important to see meditation just like you see taking a shower and brushing your teeth, that every day you prioritize taking a shower and brushing your teeth because you like to have a clean body. But there's this other part to this being, and it's the mind. And if you're not cleaning the mind, you're not addressing the entire being. So oftentimes people don't understand how important meditation is, that it's a dedicated, active, purposeful training session. And this is what's going to help you fully get to the peace and joy that is the enlightened mental state. You wouldn't be able to meditate your way to enlightenment, but you wouldn't be able to get to enlightenment without meditation either. You need other things besides meditation. So it's a matter of understanding its importance and seeing it just like you do brushing your teeth and taking a shower, that you can't imagine maybe leaving the house without taking a shower and brushing your teeth, that you need to accomplish the same thing with meditation, that you see it as that important, because that's what's going to lead to your peace and your joy. If your mind isn't well, nothing else in your life is going to go well, because everything you experience through life is coming through your mind, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your work, whether it's driving to work or walking to work, whether it's sitting on the bus, whatever it is that you do on a daily basis, eating, talking, having conversations, everything's going through your mind. So if your mind is polluted and cloudy, then you're not going to have the best experience in life. So if you prioritize meditation, where you're doing 2 to 3 meditations per day, this is going to make all the difference in the world for you. And what you would like to do is have 2 or 3 per day, and do this as anchor points, like somewhere in the morning and somewhere in the evening. And if you start with 5 minutes or 10 minutes of meditation, great. Just start there. And then over time, you gradually expand that to wider and wider and wider. That if you have the option of doing 1 meditation for 30 minutes, or you have 2 for 15 minutes, do the 2 for 15 minutes, because you'll notice the frequency is more important than the duration. So get your 2 anchor points, morning and evening, and just stick them in there. And then just start creating more and more space in your life. Because right now, if you look at your life, there's probably all kinds of unbeneficial things that you could start to eliminate from your life that isn't really leading to beneficial results in your life. Like maybe you're surfing TikTok, or maybe Little Red Book, or maybe Instagram or Facebook or something like this. Maybe you're out there, doing that for multiple hours a day, maybe even YouTube or something like that. If you start prioritizing training of your mind, and sure, you need to do those things, being on social media is fun, but you might need to shrink that down a little bit, and maybe some other things that you might be doing. Maybe you're watching TV a lot, or maybe you're listening to music a lot. You can still do those things, but you need to balance all of these things, bring your life into balance, and you need to give the meditation a valid space in your life and a priority in your life, because if you're not doing that, then everything else isn't going to go well. Your relationships, your job, your income, and your wealth, and all of these things are going to deteriorate because you're not taking care of the mind. Okay, I see a question here from Zoom, from Rachel again. Oh, I'm sorry, did you have more at the temple? Okay, I don't hear anything, so I'm going to move on to this one. But if you guys have more at the temple, you're welcome to ask. Rachel's saying, if everything is impermanent, does that mean that everything is kind of an illusion? So all conditioned objects, Rachel, are impermanent, meaning they arise, they change, and they fade away. There are things in the world that are permanent, like enlightenment itself and the natural laws of existence. But these are unconditioned objects. This is why I say everything in the world, everything you can see, hear, smell, taste, everything that comes in touch with the body, and every thought that goes through the mind, these things are all impermanent. So those things are all impermanent. But when we say that everything's an illusion, this isn't something that I would agree with. I know you probably see this out there in the world a lot. People talk about things are an illusion. Everything's an illusion. Everything's an illusion. For someone who says that everything's an illusion, ask them, do you look both directions when you cross the street? And they're going to say yes. And you say, well, why? I thought everything is an illusion. And they're going to say, oh, I don't want to get hit by a truck. Well, you just said everything's an illusion. So if you walk across the street and you get hit by a truck, that's an illusion, right? So sometimes people in the unenlightened state, they say things that aren't true, and they might sound cute, they might sound fancy, they might sound poetic, they might sound intriguing, but everything is not an illusion. What we're experiencing is real life. It's tangible life. These are things that are actually occurring. Things are impermanent. Things are constantly changing, but they're not an illusion, because if we walk across the street, that truck that's coming at us at 100 kilometers an hour, that's not an illusion. And if we walk across the street and we get hit, that's not an illusion. We're going to be dead or in the hospital. So these kinds of things are things that I see out there, but it's just not true the way people are talking about them. Okay, we have some more here from Janae on Facebook. She says, which of the fetters is most associated with acting or speaking disrespectfully? This one is from conceit. When someone's being disrespectful, there's conceit in the mind. That's the arrogance, the pride, putting yourself above people or below people. That's the main one that's going on there. But of course, there's also the wrong behavior as well. But the main one is the conceit. And whenever you have any fetters involved, like I mentioned, Janae, the ignorance or unknowing of true reality is involved too.
Hi, this is Teresa. So I have a question about the when I was doing the meditation just before just at the beginning of this class, I found I'm really hard to concentrate on just on my breath. So my mind will like flying around. I was thinking about my job, and also because now it's a holiday, but I was thinking about after the holiday when I'm back to the work, my life, something. So I always thinking too much. I think it's not just at the meditation time. At the lifetime, I'm always a person think too much. I mean, considering lots of things didn't happen or something I just worry about. So I just want to ask you some like your suggestions or your some advice to me about this. Thank you.
Sure. This is very common for someone who hasn't trained their mind, that they're going to have lots and lots of thoughts. I bet if I asked you, you probably don't meditate very much at all, right?
Yes, I just very new to this meditation practice.
Yeah, that's very common for someone who first starts, even the first several months, that you have lots and lots of thoughts. Or you might have a thought and you follow it for a period of time, and then like 2 or 3 minutes down the road, you realize like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm meditating. And then you bring your mind back to the breath. So you're not bad at meditation. It just means that your mind is untrained and you've got a lot of pollution in your mind. And every single person who just starts on the path is experiencing those similar things. So what you would need to do is continue to train your mind and continue to develop your mind. There's something called the Eightfold Path, which is the core central teaching of the Buddha that you would need to learn. And this is what's going to help you to be able to really, truly train your mind and be able to make real progress on the mind. This Eightfold Path is something that, let me get back to it to a point where you can see it. The Eightfold Path is a teaching that the Buddha shares as a core central teaching. This is what you would need in order to really directly train the mind on the path to enlightenment. What we just did is right concentration, is the meditation, and that's helping us to develop mindfulness and it's helping you apply right effort. But there's all these other steps that you need to learn. This is the central teaching of the Buddha, the core central teaching that's going to help you develop your wisdom, your moral conduct, and your mental discipline. So the meditation is helpful and important, but you need to put it together with all these other things. If you'd like to start off from the very beginning of the path, I encourage you to look at the book over there on the shelf. It's titled Developing a Life Practice, The Path That Leads to Enlightenment. It's the first book of the book series. And the first book of the book series is where students would normally start out. And you can get it for free by downloading it on our website. You can take it and go print it. You can get printed versions there by just reimbursing us for the printing cost, or you can get it on Amazon if you have access to that. Because you'd like to slowly but surely develop your mind, and training your mind gradually, slowly but surely, that's what's going to produce the results for you. So just meditating once a year like this or once a month, you're not going to see, very much progress. You need to be able to consistently train your mind with the guidance of a teacher. So that's why when I'm teaching in Chiang Mai, no matter where I am in the world, I'm going to be sharing the teachings through a live stream. So students can learn with me in Chiang Mai, but you can also learn with me online. I have students all over the world that are studying with me. So if you'd like to learn and grow and develop, you can get videos, audiobooks, books, podcasts, personal guidance, classes, courses, retreats. Everything's available to you at no cost, even personal guidance.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, I have a question here from Rachel. I think, was that Rachel? No, that was her other one, sorry. Let's see. don't see any other questions anywhere. All right.
Thank you.
So what I'll do then...
I want to ask a question.
You have a question? Sure.
This is Joey. So you mentioned that eliminating our discontent feeling is beneficial, but sometimes we need some bad temper or bad negative emotion to achieve something, or sometimes some doubt or some anxiety can be beneficial for our future choice. So it's always a good thing to eliminate our discontent feelings.
So what you're describing now is what you currently think based on your current understanding of the world. But when you cultivate wisdom, what you'll come to realize is that these discontent feelings just stand in your way of being able to accomplish your true goals and your true objectives in life. So for example, when you're stressed and having anxiety and you're having fear, or you're having sadness and anger, this is clouding your mind and making it difficult for you to make decisions. Your mind isn't calm, so therefore you don't have mindfulness or awareness of mind. You don't have concentration, and you can't access your wisdom and make wise choices. When you get rid of the discontent feelings, where your mind is completely purified and you can be calm and collected, then you can access your wisdom and make wise choices that produce wholesome results for you. Right now, you're used to basing your decisions in anger or frustration, or out of fear or anxiety, you might be making decisions. But what you should be able to see is that those decisions aren't producing the best results in your life. This is why you keep experiencing certain struggles and difficulties over and over and over again. So when you cultivate wisdom and you train your mind to eliminate the causes and conditions that are producing these discontent feelings, more and more you can get to the point where you're just making wise decisions all the time that are producing wholesome results for you. And you can just keep moving your life forward and forward and forward and forward and forward. But when you're making unwise decisions, that means when you put that decision out in the world, it's going to produce unwholesome results for you. And now you got to clean that up. You've got to experience those unwholesome results first off, but then you got to figure out how to clean all that up. Where if you can transform your mind and just make wise decisions all the time based in wisdom, you won't need these discontent feelings at all, because they're just standing in your way of being able to make wise decisions and experience wholesome results in your life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm just going to take a look one more time. Looks like we have a question coming in here on YouTube. Jose's asking, hi, David. Sometimes I feel lost. I know that meditation will help, but sometimes it's hard for me to keep it up in calm and understanding others. How can I overcome them? Overcome that? You need to just keep practicing, Jose. Keep staying dedicated, because you're going to have missteps on your journey to enlightenment. Sometimes we think that the path to enlightenment is, you start here and then you're just going to make this ascent like this, right? But it's not like that. It's not a clear line up to enlightenment. It gets really messy sometimes. And as you're experiencing that, that's your opportunity to cultivate wisdom. So where you're having struggles and difficulties, do like you did, which is reach out to me or someone in our community. We're here to help you. You can access the resources and the books and stuff like that. You can get help with me either by asking in a live class, posting in our Facebook group. You can send private messages or schedule personal guidance. But when you're having difficulties and struggles, there's just some kind of wisdom that you're lacking, and you need that wisdom to be able to overcome that. So if you stick with the training and you stick with the meditation and you stick with the continuous learning, gradually, slowly but surely, things will get better. But there's going to be rough patches here and there. That's normal. It's not smooth sailing to enlightenment. I don't know if you know the movie The Wizard of Oz, right? If you remember Dorothy on the yellow brick road, right? When she was on the yellow brick road, she kept finding all these problems along the way, but she kept turning the problem into something beneficial and some helpful thing. And ultimately, she made her way towards the ultimate goal. So you're going to encounter difficulties and struggles along the way. But if you walk towards those struggles and challenges, cultivate wisdom, then you can overcome it and just keep on walking forward, keep training your mind. Okay, I think you guys are all out of questions for today. Just check. Yeah, I don't see any other questions. Oh, we have one over here at the temple. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, David. So when I was meditating today, I was paying attention to other things, like sounds, feelings in my body, sensations like touch. And I feel like this is like, it's not paying attention to the breath, but I feel like it's kind of like the same thing in a way. Like I'm being present. And I feel like it's a good thing to do. But what do you think? Should I stop doing that?
Yeah, the way that the Buddha taught is to focus on your breath. And the reason why is because the breath is like a post or a pillar. And if you can imagine like these 6 animals that are tied to this post or pillar, and as these 6 animals are pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, as they get to the end of the rope, they get yanked back and they get yanked back and they get yanked back. Initially, they're going to keep pulling. But when they realize that they're tied to this post and pillar, eventually they're going to give in and they're just going to relax and they're going to sit calmly by the post and pillar. So your mind is doing the same thing. It's pulling. It's pulling through your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body, and the mind itself, these 6 directions that the mind is pulling in all these 6 directions. And the mind's going to try to get pacified by something because it doesn't want to just sit there in the present moment and be still and focus on the breath. So when their mind is pulling like this, you need to be able to yank it back and yank it back and yank it back. And more, it'll get to the point where it calmly sits down and is calm like a post or pillar. But it's going to take many months and years to train it to do that. But if you just continue to allow the mind to roam and wander like that, you're never going to get the discipline that you need. Because there's the body and then there's the mind. These 2 things together we call the person. So the person is trying to train the mind, and the mind's trying to be a wild animal, and it's trying to run around and do all these wild things. And the person's like, no, you got to come over here and be calm. And the mind's like, no, man, I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm going to go focus on something else. And the person's like, nope, get back over here. And you bring the mind over and it gets more and more disciplined. And then it's sitting there for maybe 2 seconds or 5 seconds. And it's like, I'm out of here. Boom. And it's gone again. And now the person has got to say, nope, get back over here. So if you keep doing this with the mind over time, it'll get more and more disciplined where it won't do that. But what you're describing isn't allowing the mind to get the discipline and training it needs. It's just allowing it to run around in the forest.
Hi, David. I'm another Rachel from China asking a question. So I have been doing meditation for 2 years, and I think like it can help me to get rid of anxieties. But now I really want to ask my hubby to join me because he is constantly worrying about something doesn't even existed. So. But he is not, I don't think he's truly believe meditation works. So do you think I should persuade him to join me or just let it go?
You should let it go because you can't force and control someone else to do something. And even if you could force your husband to do something, he's only going to do it as long as that pressure is there. As soon as your back's turned, he's going to go do something else. So in order for him to create real sustainable improvement in his life, it needs to be decisions that he makes. So the best thing you can do for your own mind is let it go. You focus on training your mind and developing your mind. And then as you're becoming more and more peaceful, you're becoming more and more joyful, he's going to see that. It might take 6 months, a year, 2 years, but he's going to see that. And then he's going to be interested. I just, as you guys heard, is coming back from Mexico. I was in Mexico for 3 weeks. The reason why is because there's some students there that invited me to come teach. And one of the students, the main person who was hosting the event, she's been training with me for 1.5 years. And she's been getting all kinds of benefit and all kinds of improvement. And she invited me to come there and they sponsored me to come and I stayed with them. And her husband was there, who she's been very interested to learn these teachings for a long time. he was there, and he finally actually started to learn. Like, he came to my classes, he asked me a lot of questions, and now he's learning and practicing the teachings. But it was his choice. She never forced him, she never controlled him, and he's so enthusiastic about it now because he sees the real potential of these teachings. But in the meantime, she had to let go of wanting him to be a certain way. So it's great that you've been meditating for 2 years, but I suspect you're not learning all the other teachings that I showed you on that Eightfold Path, because you're going to need more than just meditation to train your mind. So if you get all the other teachings that you need in order to train your mind, you'll be becoming more and more peaceful and more joyful. Your husband will see that, and then slowly but surely he might choose to learn and practice. But you can't hold out hope for that, because you need to train your mind to let go, because he may or may not ever choose to learn. But the best opportunity for him to choose to learn is when he sees his own wife becoming so peaceful and so joyful, and what a real transformation you've made. That'll be convincing for him, potentially. But you got to let go of any kind of thing like that, any kind of hope for that, and just focus on your own practice.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello, this is Miu Miu from China, and I'm just curious about a question that if people have like a disease like ADHD or anxiety disorder, and still the meditation will be a little bit helpful for them.
It's wonderful for
That's my
that.
question.
Yeah, it's wonderful for that. These things that are actually being diagnosed as medical illnesses today, it's actually not truly a real medical illness. I know that people have been taught that it is, that it's something biological in their mind, but actually all it is it's an untrained mind. Because I was diagnosed with all those same things as well, and I took medicine for 24 years. I was able to train my mind with the teachings of the Buddha and got rid of all of the symptoms and got rid of all the medications as well. That ADHD, all that is that the mind has difficulties focusing and concentrating, and that's just because the mind hasn't been trained. Anxiety is where the mind is fearful, typically, of something in the future. This is coming from craving, desire, attachment in the mind. And when you learn to train your mind, you can get rid of all anxiety, all fear. You can get to the point where the mind's focused and concentrated. So people who have been diagnosed with these kinds of things, they actually typically see a lot of benefit, because they know what it feels like to have anxiety and lack of concentration. So when they start training their mind with the actual true teachings of the Buddha, and they start experiencing the improvements, they notice it pretty readily. So if there's anybody out there that has those kinds of things going on, I know that doctors and other people have maybe convinced you that there's something biologically wrong with your brain, but this isn't actually true. You can actually solve all of the symptoms and get to the point where the mind's completely focused and concentrated without any kind of disruption. It's not a biological thing. It's just that the mind's lacking training.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Anything else you guys would like to ask?
Hello, Dr. David. My name is Rex. I have a question relating to negative mood. Okay, so a little background about me. I'm dealing with a whole lot of emergency issues every day, and that's because of my work. So my question is, if I'm dealing with those emergency issues and I just finish that thing and another piles of work to come into my job, and eventually takes me to the point where I'm getting stressful. So maybe my girlfriend, my family I'm talking to, I'm passing to this negative mood to them. So how should I well control this situation?
Yeah, again, this comes through training of the mind. The very first teaching that you guys need to learn is what's causing these feelings. This is called the Four Noble Truths. I explain this in all the basic foundational classes and in that book as well. And it's been recorded many times. I'm going to be starting the course next week, but you guys might not be around next week. You guys can watch on the live stream. You can watch the recording. You can read in the book that what's causing these discontent feelings, like the stress and anxiety, it's the craving, it's desire. The mind's wanting something to be a certain way. And if you get it your way, you get happy. But if you don't get it your way, you get angry or sad or stress or anxiety or some other discontent feeling. And you need to be able to train your mind with the full path to enlightenment, gradually, slowly, but surely. You need to be able to train your mind, and you can get to the point where you can be polite, kind, friendly, respectful all the time. But right now, you don't have the wisdom of how to do that. See, we all grow up without these teachings. And now that you're an adult, you can actually choose to get the training that you need. You know, that we grow up thinking, I don't know how old you guys are. I think most of you guys look like you're in your 20s or 30s, perhaps. You know, we grow up thinking that, you know, we know a certain amount of things about the world, but there's this whole area of training the mind that we just don't grow up with. In Thailand, they grow up with it. This is one of the reasons why people in Thailand are so peaceful. And they call Thailand the land of smiles, because when your mind is purified, when your mind has been trained, it's very easy to be joyful and smile, right? Of course, not everybody in Thailand is enlightened, but they've trained their mind to a certain degree that they grow up with these teachings, so they understand how to be calm and peaceful and joyful. And of course, you're going to see occasional Thai people who aren't that way, but by and large, the Thai people are very calm and very peaceful and very joyful. And this is because they grow up with these teachings. But since none of us grew up with these teachings, this is your opportunity to now gain access to them. Now that you've come to Thailand and you've come to the temple and you've seen that we have all these books available for you, that you have access to them for free or reimbursing us for our cost, or access to the videos and all these things, you can gradually, slowly but surely learn how to train your mind and completely experience a different way of life, this better way of life. I think most of you guys are from China. The Buddhism that they teach in China, it's actually not the original teachings of the Buddha. I think a lot of Chinese people know that, because there's a lot of rites and rituals and ceremonies and prayer and these kinds of things. And this isn't what the Buddha actually taught. He taught to train your mind. And that's what those books share. And that's what all the classes and courses and retreats that I have will help you with. So while I understand, sir, that you have these challenges with your stress and talking to your family in unkind ways that you would prefer to change, I can't give you like a 3-minute or 5-minute answer that's going to fix all of that, because there's a whole path that you need to be able to learn. You need to learn how to be loving and kind. You need to learn how to have speaking in ways that are wise. You need to learn how to interact with your family in ways that is warm and gentle. And this comes through training of the mind and meditation, but then also other things as well. So the best thing I can teach you in these few minutes that we have together is to pick up that book, either download it, take it and go print it, get printed version of it, attend some classes, and then you can see where I teach the entire Eightfold Path. That's what you would like to really be able to learn.
Okay, thank you, David.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, I don't see any other questions out there. Let me see if we have anything online anywhere else. Okay, Janae says, why do people experience back pain on their way to enlightenment? Not everybody experiences back pain on their way to enlightenment, but it's possible that somebody could experience back pain. If there's any pain in the back, they should look at medical issues and see if there's any kind of medical issues that are causing that. But there's nothing about enlightenment itself that is going to produce back pain for people. And then Janae asks, why would you say that you are passionate about being a Buddhist teacher? I'm actually not passionate about being a Buddhist teacher. Sometimes people read it that way. I'm enthusiastic. I'm ambitious, right? I have an initiative. I have a willingness to share these teachings. I have an aspiration for them to be shared in the world. But passion usually comes from like craving, desire, attachment. So I wouldn't describe as what I share as passionate. It's ambition, enthusiasm, these kinds of things. And the reason why I have that is because I know what my mind was like in the past and what I experienced and the darkness and the difficulties that I had in my mind. And I know what the Buddhist teachings did to completely transform that and to get to where I am today with the condition of my mind and my relationships in my life. And this complete transformation that I've experienced, I'm interested in seeing as many people experience that as possible. It's kind of like if you discovered the cure to cancer, what would you do with it? Well, some people would probably mass market it and try to sell it to everybody they could for as high a price as they could. But that's not what I would do with it. What I would do is, if I discovered the cure to cancer, is I'd give it away to everybody for free if I could. And that's essentially what I figured out how to do. Is I've rediscovered these teachings of the Buddha, and I know the complete transformation that it does for an individual's mind in their life. And now I've set up in such a way that I can share with as many people as possible at no cost. And of course, people sometimes share donations with me to be able to help me pay for food and clothing and shelter and medical care and the things that we need at the temple, like electric and water and meditation cushions and things like that. But I'm just interested in seeing these teachings get into as many hands as possible. So that's why I've made it as easy as possible. I've removed every single obstacle. The only obstacle in anybody's way of getting to enlightenment is your own determination, your own effort, your own energy. If each individual student has even a fraction of the amount of ambition that I have, you'll be just fine. You'll be able to get to enlightenment no problem, because my ambition and my enthusiasm is quite significant. And if you have just a fraction of that amount in order for yourself to get to enlightenment, you'll be just fine making your way to enlightenment. So I've set up in such a way that there's nothing standing in your way. There's not location, there's not a financial barrier, there's not any of that stuff. Like, you can choose to learn and practice these teachings on your own, and you've got someone here that's completely motivated to be able to help you, right? Like getting in on a plane last night at 1:30 in the morning, sick, like here in a hotel room in Bangkok, and I'm still teaching because I would like to see as many people get access to these teachings as possible, because they're just so beneficial for your life. I think you guys have some more questions there at the temple.
Yeah, hi David. You are very interesting sharing from you. One lesson I learned today is that maybe we need make more efforts to clean our mind, and meditation could be the one of the effective methods to do that. And for that, I understand that it is also a kind of self-control of our feeling and mind. But at the same time, as a member of society, I mean, we are in the combination of all relationships, and also we have so many people, stakeholders to manage, to build our interactions with them. So about those part, the external part, which is very sometimes maybe out of our control, how to balance the relationship between that, and any sharing from you about that part? Thank you.
So the mind has to let go of wanting to control the outside world. As long as you want to control the outside world, you'll constantly be frustrated and agitated because you can't control the outside world. All you can do is control the inner world, and that's where the training of the Buddha comes in. So yeah, there's all kinds of things going on in the world and around you, whether it's work or your personal life or what have you. There's all these things that are happening, and because of the mind's craving, desire, attachment, the mind will want to control all these things, and then you'll be frustrated when they don't go your way. But you got to let go of wanting to control them and learning how to control your own mind, and let go of wanting the world to be a certain way. When you let go of all of those things, which comes with training, you can be peaceful no matter what.
Okay.
And it's the Eightfold Path that's going to help you do that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about my life and work. So there is still some purpose we need to achieve. So if there is a purpose that you have to do something on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes cannot just let it go, but maybe that is a practice I need to make. Yeah.
So letting something go doesn't mean that you let go of the material possession or the thought of acquiring this thing, right? Because I have, as you just heard Janae ask, is, I have all this ambition, I have all this enthusiasm to be able to see the teachings flourish in the world. And I'm working every single day in order to make sure these teachings continue to be spread in the world. I have huge goals, huge aspirations for these teachings, but I'm not doing it with craving, desire, attachment. I'm not longing, yearning, right? So when we say let go, it doesn't mean completely walk away from something, because that's what the unenlightened mind sees. It either you hold on to something really tight and you chase after it, or the other side is, I'm just not going to do it at all. I'm just going to let it go. But letting it go isn't that. Letting it go is coming to the middle, where you can gradually work towards something as a goal, objective, or interest, where you can gradually work towards something. And if you accomplish that thing, that's fine. And if you don't accomplish it, that's okay too. But when you're chasing after something, you can only be happy when you get it. And if you don't get it, you'll be sad. That's a craving, desire, attachment. And that's where you can't experience complete peace and joy. But when you pursue something as a goal, objective, or interest, a true goal, objective, or interest, a true aspiration, whether you get it or you don't, you can still maintain your peace and your joy.
Okay, sure. Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Okay, I think you guys are all questioned out, huh? Let me see. Okay. I don't see any other questions. You have more? Okay.
Hi, David. It's not a question, but I just I have asked a question before, but now I just want to appreciate you, because I think this practice is made my day, because it's my first day in Chiang Mai. So I'm really grateful to have this session with you. So it's not a question, but just I want to say something. Thank you.
You're welcome. Pleased to help you. And if you guys would like to learn more, you're welcome to come back. Like I mentioned, Friday at 6 p.m., we have our game night. Really good time to come together. I'm going to be there. I've been away for about 3 weeks, and I'll be there on Friday to play some games and have some fun. I'll bring my son with me. So if you guys have children, you're welcome to bring your children too. On Saturday and Sunday, we have classes at 9 a.m. At 9 p.m., I teach from home and I live stream it. And then on Monday, I'm going to be starting a course at 9 a.m. So anybody who would like to attend any of these things, you guys are more than welcome. And if you're not going to be in Chiang Mai, you can attend by live stream, because when I'm there at the temple, I will usually live stream the classes so that you guys can learn even when I'm teaching at the temple. Even if you're not in Chiang Mai, no matter where you are in the world, you can join through Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom. Everything as a central hub is from our website. If you go to our website, buddhadailywisdom.com, that's where you're going to get access to all the resources that you need to be able to help you on this journey, including scheduling personal guidance with me if you'd like to sit down and talk one-on-one, either when I'm in Chiang Mai or when you're back in your country. If you'd like to meet online, we can meet in Zoom one-on-one. Pleased to help you guys. Just reach out, and I'm here to help you. Have all these opportunities for you guys to learn. So thank you all for joining, and perhaps we'll see you guys in a future class. Be well, take care, and have a lovely rest of your day. Sawadee Kap.
Thank you again for watching. Enjoy your meditation. Look forward to seeing you online and answering any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.